Okie dokie artichokes. We're gonna watch this video by Brittany Sellner. It's called "How Feminism Led to the Trans Movement." I watched about 25 seconds of it. To me, I'm gonna guess. Just gonna guess that it's a turf argument that she's a trans exclusionary radical feminist. That being said, that she's going to argue that trans women in particular, I'm gonna bet she never mentions trans men in the whole time thing. If she's a turf, I'm making a lot of judgments, okay, but I'm guessing that she's a turf, and if she's a turf, she's never gonna mention trans men in the entire video, and she's definitely not gonna mention non-binary people. What she's gonna mention is trans women, and pretty much trans women exclusively. So we'll see. But the argument is that trans women are co-opting femininity and destroying yada yada. I don't know what the fuck, but that's the argument. Oh, by the way, in case you're new here, my name is Avon. I'm a trans woman. My pronouns are she/they, and if you don't subscribe, you're a bitch.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about the idea that men and women are interchangeable, that men can do everything women can do and vice versa, and that there's little to no difference between men and women and their abilities, apart from those that have been foisted upon us by societal
Okay, but this idea that she's describing right here is not being trans. Being trans is not the idea that men and women well, see, this is where we're gonna have to. She is in this thing right here, not acknowledging that trans people exist, because of course men and women can do anything because men and women are not defined terms in any sense. Like, well, think about it like this. I'm a woman, but I can deadlift 450 pounds. Okay? What she's going to claim is that a woman could not deadlift 450 pounds. Right? Because that's a physical characteristic that would only be associated with a man. But that's preposterous, because here I am existing in reality as a woman who can deadlift 450. Do you see where her argument is going to detach from reality? But let's keep going.
constructs. To start off, we have to take a look at the political and cultural attack against the concept of what it is to be a man and what it is to be a woman. For example, for a long time now, we've seen the mainstream media, politicians, and various activist groups claim that a man can be a woman and vice versa, either if they medically transition, if they dress like one, or simply if they claim that they are one. From this, what naturally—
Oh no. She's just so wrong. Because, of course, men can't be women, because trans men aren't women. And, of course, women can't be men, because trans women aren't men. You dumb fuck.
Followed was the idea that men can menstruate, men can get pregnant, and men can breastfeed, because women who have transitioned into men are considered actual men.
Well, no, because the idea of being a man and being a woman are not real. You dumb bitch. Okay? Think about it like this, right? If I'm born with an XXXY chromosome, which is a real thing, that can be your real chromosome pairing. You can be XXXY. You have both X and X, which would make you a woman in her mind, not in my mind, but like according to her, that would make you a woman. And you would have X and Y, which would make you a man. So, by her definition, someone with XXXY chromosomes is both a woman and a man, which means that her definition of the term is actually the one that makes it meaningless. Because that's reality. People actually exist with XXXY chromosomes. In fact, 2% of the population would be considered intersex. 2%. Do you realize how many millions of people that is in this country? It's quite a few million. So think about it like that, homie, okay? I'm the one operating in reality. You're the one who is so blinded to the reality that there are more than two genders and that gender itself isn't even real, that you're trying to force everyone in society to conform to two fucking things. When in reality, there could be a million. There could be none. It doesn't matter. They're not real. Okay? Jesus Christ.
Conversely, men who transition into women are considered actual women who are simply unable to do things like get pregnant or breastfeed or menstruate, although some people do claim that they can experience menstruation-like symptoms. As an example of just how confusing all of this can get, celebrity Ellen Page recently came out as transgender.
Why is she dead naming Ellen Page? Why does this video have 2.7 thousand likes and 61 dislikes? Why is this bitch popular?
Taking on the name Elliot Page, but the fact that as a woman Page was a lesbian means that as a man Page would technically now be considered straight.
Oh my god, Elliot Page is non-fucking binary. Elliot Page is a non-binary trans mask person, okay? They don't even claim to be a man in your definition, okay? You just this bitch is so uneducated. She doesn't know what she's talking about.
This gender debate has also resulted in fundamental societal changes, such as men now being allowed to compete in women's sports,
what she's describing as a man, a transgender individual. They've been allowed to participate in the Olympics for many a cycle. Okay? These people have already been participating in women's sports. These people have already been participating in men's sports, okay? This isn't new. This isn't something that's new, okay? Trans people have existed forever. You just have been blind because, we've known better than to come out of the closet. My dumbass, however, I didn't know better. I came out of the closet. Oh my god. Oh my god. Did it hurt your little old feelings? Holy shit. Oh my god.
Allowed to use women's bathrooms, being allowed to be imprisoned in women's prisons, and so on. It's also resulted in a push to erase all gendered language. For example, midwives in Brighton have been told they can replace the word breastfeeding with chest feeding and mother with mother or birthing parent as part of efforts to be more gender inclusive. They've also been told that breast milk should be replaced by phrases such as human milk, breast, chest milk, and milk from the feeding mother or parent.
Okay, so here's doctors, medical professionals, and scientists changing the definitions of medical journals to better fit reality and to better treat their patients. That's what she just described happening.
Furthermore, NHS doctors were instructed not to use the word mother and to instead use the term pregnant people so as not to offend transgender people. Granted, both of these articles came out of the UK, but we are seeing similar things happen in the United States. For example, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Rules Committee Chairman James P. McGovern recently introduced gender-neutral language in new rules for Congress. Obviously, these Congress rules aren't bound by law, but there have been instances of people in the UK being investigated and even arrested for misgendering transgender people.
Oh, that's totally misleading too, because they weren't arrested for misgendering trans people. They were arrested for harassing transgender people, okay? You can be arrested in the United Kingdom for doing what we would consider trolling, I guess, where you just like send tweet after tweet after tweet after tweet after tweet after tweet after somebody. You make other fake accounts, you troll them, you're an asshole to them. You can be arrested for that in the United Kingdom. And so, of course, they were misgendering them in tweets. But the point of it was that they were harassing these individuals. And that's a crime in the United Kingdom because you can't just be an asshole on the internet in the United Kingdom. I, of course, think you should be allowed to be an asshole wherever the fuck you please. But in the United Kingdom, the problem is that you're not allowed to be an asshole on the internet. Not that you're getting arrested for misgendering somebody. It's that misgendering someone is asshole-like behavior, and if you're being an asshole and there's a law against being an asshole, you're going to get arrested for being said asshole. Again, you dumb bitch.
And the question is, how long before similar measures come to the United States and other Western countries? As much as some people might insist that language isn't that important and that forcing people to go against what they know to be true in the form of something that some people might consider to be not that important, like calling a man a woman, it actually is a massive deal. The border of language is the border of our minds. Language is how we express
Now she's going to argue that trans people are going to destroy society because you won't know whether or not the person you're talking to has a dick or a vagina. That's like kind of literally what she's insinuating, though.
Ourselves and how we interact with each other. And when we allow other people to control our language, we're allowing them to control us, to control what we say, and with enough work, to also control what we think. Not to
Is this bitch serious? She's describing the way that she's been brainwashed. Okay? Like I said earlier, 2% of the population is intersex, which functionally means that 2% of the population is transgender. And 2% of the population exists. Okay? And 2% of the population requires some sort of ability to exist in society, right? So our attempt to exist in society is not equivalent to you not wanting to learn fucking pronouns, okay? These things are not equivalent, okay? Me, as a transgender woman, wanting to exist is a lot more serious than you having to police your thoughts a little tiny itty-bitty bit, if you want to. Like, are you serious?
be cliche, but in order to illustrate the importance of language in general, I'm going to make a reference to 1984 because the author George Orwell...
1984. George Orwell. Okay, well, let's just see what she says first.
He fully understood the importance of language and how by allowing our language to be controlled, it would pave the way for allowing our thoughts to be controlled. Orwell believed that totalitarianism and the corruption of language were connected. He focused especially on political language, where you distorted events and concepts by calling them something else. One of Orwell's most important messages in 1984 is that language is of central importance to human thought because it structures and limits the ideas that individuals are capable of formulating and expressing. If control of language was centralized in a political agency, Orwell proposes, such an agency could possibly alter the very structure of language to make it impossible to even conceive of disobedient or rebellious thoughts, because there would be no words with which to think them.
Hey, you know what this sounds like? Like, it sounds like, what if there was an organization that existed that for like 2,000 years had distinguished between motherfuckers that were born with penises and motherfuckers that were born with vaginas. And they called those motherfuckers who were born with penises men, and they called those motherfuckers who were born with vaginas women. Okay? And then they decided that men were better than women, right? So men get to do whatever the fuck they want, and then women can fuck off and, just kind of exist to birth children. And that organization is called the Catholic Church. And the Catholic Church is actually what brainwashed Western civilization into thinking that there were only two genders, when in reality, of course, there are more, infinite, none. It's just not two, okay? It's just not two, that's for sure. So, in reality, it's this bitch who's been brainwashed, and the 2.7 thousand people who, liked that video are brainwashed too. And what would make more sense, what would make more sense, Brittany? Would it make more sense that everyone is brainwashed and so are you? Or would it make more sense that everyone is not brainwashed and only a few people are brainwashed? And by few, I mean 2% of the population and just anyone who has the ability to observe scientific data. 2% of the population is brainwashed, and they're brainwashed because they exist, not because they've been brainwashed. They're brainwashed because they're trying to live their life. But you, who went to church or school or anywhere that's distinguishing between gender from a very young age and told you that you were a girl or a boy and said that 100,000, 50 million, whatever times to you, and you based your entire life around it, would it be that person who's brainwashed? I don't know. I don't know which one sounds more reasonable to me. Would it be the 2% of the population that was born this way, or the 98% of the population that was told they were that way? Which one of those is the one that sounds like they might have been brainwashed?
But language aside, something else that I think is worth considering is where this push to redefine gender first originated. And I recently stumbled across a very interesting video which I think answers this question quite well. Before I play the video, however, I just want to point out that the person in this video uses the acronym TERF. And for those who don't know, TERF is an acronym for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminist. A lot of people refer to J.K. Rowling as a TERF because
J.K. Rowling is the TERF queen because she's fucking insane and she doesn't believe that trans people exist. And she wrote an entire book where trans men or a guy, like a man, pretends to be a trans woman, which is just something that doesn't happen. Okay. Above that, sexual assault is already illegal, so there's no reason to criminalize being transgender to prevent sexual assault, because sexual assault is already illegal, you dumb fucks, okay? And if you really cared about sexual assault, you wouldn't be attacking trans people, you'd be attacking straight white men. I mean, like, what are you fucking talking about? Oh, and straight white male trans people, I bet they commit. I wanted to make some whack-ass argument that trans men probably commit the same amount of sexual assault as trans women, but I bet that's not true. Like, it just doesn't make as much sense. Like, I don't know.
As while she supports transgender rights, she also believes in biological sex.
Biological sex isn't real, by the way. I just did that whole XXXY chromosome thing. Biological sex, there's like literally thousands of things that determine your physical characteristics, and most of them have nothing to do with your biological sex or whatever the fuck they're talking about.
J.K. Rowling doesn't believe that a man who dresses as or who medically transitions into a woman is in fact a biological woman, and rightly so. But now for the video.
And before I get some TERFs up in my comment sections being like, women means adult human female. First of all, fuck you. Second of all, y'all don't even know your feminist history. Second wave feminism was about relieving women from their reproductive roles and duties. It's regressive to reclaim female as this like fucking end-all be-all term for what womanhood is. Like, literally know your history. Feminism was not about that. Feminism was about alleviating these gender roles and gender duties based on reproductive capability. It was about getting rid of it. And that's why feminism belongs to us queers and trans people now, because it begat us. So fuck off.
Holy shit. Did you just, how do you play that video where there's a totally reasonable person and they say everything correctly, and how is she gonna fucking, like, what is she gonna talk about with this video? That's right. Isn't the whole point of feminism to stop motherfucking people from claiming that women have some biological imperative to be feminine? Isn't that literally what feminism is about? Isn't that the whole point? Isn't the whole point of feminism that the idea of femininity is fake? That the idea of femininity is a social construct brought up by nothing? Isn't that the whole fucking point of feminism?
Personally, I fully agree with this video. Whether feminists realize it or not, in fighting to redefine traditional gender roles, they were the ones who took the very first step towards a society in which no significant borders between men and women are acknowledged, and men and women are considered to be basically the same to the point that they are interchangeable. While feminism might have claimed to simply be fighting for equal rights between men and women, the various waves of feminism went far beyond that, with many women choosing to fully usurp the male role, claiming that women are capable of absolutely everything that men are. And
they are, you dumb bitch. She's not a feminist. This Brittany Sellner bitch isn't a feminist? Is that really what she's going to tell me at the end of this video?
That aside from women needing men's sperm to procreate, the world would be exactly the same if men didn't exist.
That's not what feminism is about at all. You just played the video that described what feminism was about, and now you're claiming that feminism is about not needing men to exist? The whole point of feminism was that females are capable of not just being pussies. That was the whole point. What?
And so now, naturally, many men are doing the exact same thing and are choosing to usurp the female role.
Oh my god, they're not men! I can't do this video. I can't.